But so many people have been asking, like, Sierra, how can I really build wealth? Is the market still there for investors and to build wealth in real estate? Hi, I am Sierra Earl. You are listening to Lean In and Listen with Sierra. This is a boardroom for all women. This is a place, a space for women to be their authentic selves. So grab your cup of coffee or your cup of tea and lean in and listen with me. Well, good morning. I am so happy that you guys are here today. You are listening to Sierra, Lean In and Listen with Sierra. I have a really good friend here today, which her name is Ashley Good. And she's in the real estate market. She's a realtor. And let me just tell you, she's a Southern belle that's gone up to DC for years, over 15 years. And she's come back here. I know, back to Alabama. I'm the same way. I've been gone and I come back, and it's so great to meet somebody that you can groove and collaborate with. You all are in for a rude awakening. I have to. I'll let her tell you how we even got started. Like, this is our second time meeting in 1 month, and no other than Ashley Good.
Good morning.
So, Ashley, we're going to hop right into it.
Great.
I want you to tell the viewers, like, who you are and how did you get here in Birmingham?
Sure. So my name is Ashley Good, obviously. I'm a Birmingham native. I'm a proud John Carroll graduate and a proud graduate of the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Lived in Birmingham, started in commercial real estate here, and then married my husband, who is in the Army. So we moved several different places. We moved to Nashville, Raleigh, North Carolina, and then we were in D.C. For 11 years before I moved my daughters and I back home during COVID.
Gotcha.
And so it's great to be back home in Birmingham. We're really enjoying getting back to our southern roots after East Coast living.
I was going to say, like, how was East Coast and how is Alabama?
Sure. So, I mean, I attribute a lot of my success for launching a business on the East Coast. As you and I were prepping for this podcast, we were discussing that it's much more of a transactional environment. So if you're looking to be an entrepreneur and really get your business off the ground, it's a great environment to do it because everybody's used to kind of a business model approach. I mean, it's the capital of the United States.
Right.
People aren't really afraid to make business deals because it happens on every corner there.
Right.
And compared to Birmingham, it's a more relationship town. You know, it's really who you know. Everywhere is who you know,
Right.
but here especially is, you know, the community that you're investing in and the relationships that you build here.
All the small groups, all the little, let's go for coffee.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like that has affected the way you have moved around with your business here at all?
Sure. So, having launched my real estate business in DC, which was called Giving Tree. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. 1 second. Having launched that Giving Tree in DC, again, it was a very transactional town, so it was easier to get that off the ground. We also developed that business with a nonprofit arm, which was why it was called Giving Tree, named after the Shel Silverstein book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
For every house that we helped, people buy or sell or invest in, whether it be commercial property or residential, 1% of those profits would go to Habitat for Humanity, and we would build a home every year. So that's why we named it Giving Tree. So we duplicated that model here in Birmingham. So I find that model of giving back to the community really works.
It's really good.
However, I needed to move my business momentum in terms of really deep diving into the community to see where we could serve best as a real estate company. So we've really, we've deep dived a lot into the veterans associations here.
Yep.
We have a give back program for the schools. Like every time somebody, buys or sells with us, we have a check to your school of choice. It's called Partners in Education. So those are the things that were really more community forward than we were in DC,
So
especially here in
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Here a lot too. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Now I do know that she has some expertise here, because you, of course, started Did you start in DC or did you actually start real estate here in Birmingham?
So my first big job out of college was I worked for Grady Burrow as his asset manager, and that's where I cut my teeth in commercial real estate flipping.
Oh.
And then from there, I went and became a property manager and then commercial sales agent of a larger firm here in Birmingham before I moved.
Wow. So that just really gave you your roots before you just set off. Now tell us about Azaria Road. Like that's what you're doing right here now, right?
Yes.
You've really expanded your brand and it's more like a concierge like services. Tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Sure. So Azalea Road was built on the heels of what we learned from Giving Tree in DC. And through the years of working in the DC market, we were able to highlight where we weren't meeting homeowners or potential homeowners' needs completely.
Okay.
So we developed a broader, more concierge service in DC that we've built. We brought that model here to Birmingham as well.
Okay.
And what that includes is not only are we there every step of the way as you're looking to buy or sell or invest, but we also have a lot of follow-up businesses that we can bring into your home. For example, we have a decluttering business. It's called Happy Households.
Oh, that's how we met, guys. Let me just tell you.
Yes, we got connected through clutter.
Yeah, through clutter. We're trying to declutter our lives.
Yeah.
I actually, I do these events, by the way, and I asked Ashley to come on board, and her team like showed out. It's usually like 100 women, and I mean they came in and really spoke very well on like their decluttering program. I mean, she has so many services, and I was like, oh my God, the ladies will love this. And so that's sort of how we got here today. It's so crazy.
And that was a really fun morning.
It
Yeah.
was.
Thanks for having me in.
I know. You're welcome. Anytime. I always tell people I just try to show value. Like, how can I help another woman? You know, like, how can I help elevate somebody? Because I want somebody to help me. And so many times we are like pushing everybody along, especially a lot of women that are doing well. We don't really have anybody to push us, right? And so when I see that, I'm like, come on,
Yeah,
let
I
me
love
be
it.
your mommy, you know?
I think we all as women in business find our tribes.
Yeah, we do. And it's crazy, but I think you're probably part of mine now.
I can't wait. You're my favorite already.
Oh, really? I don't know. That's what they say. And then you get to know me. You're like, I don't know. I mean, not too much care for her.
Oh, that's okay. One thing I realized being a military spouse through that process real quick is friends are like Baskin Robbins. Like you have one of every flavor, right? They're not all the same, right?
I like it. And if you value what that flavor is,
Yeah.
then you're fine. Like you can't put everybody into a box or circle.
That's right.
Like let them be them to you.
Right.
And you be yourself to them.
Right. Yeah.
And it just works out.
Yep. I've got friends of all kinds.
Oh, wow. So, you know, that just posed something in my mind. I know that we connected over talking about even with coaching. And I always say, you know, it is so great to have a coach. Every coach needs a coach. And I remember you telling me like your journey with real estate and you had somebody even in DC to like help you be the best you. Like tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, so I think you touched on it a little bit, which is really important, is that women in business who support other women in business have huge impacts. And, you know, I really stand on the women that have supported my business from the beginning. You know, I can speak to Kate Papkin, to Danae Judd, very successful women in real estate in both the DC and the Florida market that have been really a cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, anytime that I was like, oh, I don't think I can do it, or am I scaling too big too quickly?
Right.
They were always there to really understand. And I think this is really important in coaching in businesses. What is my why? And why? And how do I stay focused? And how do I stay hungry when the phone is already ringing?
Oh, say that again.
Yeah. How do you stay hungry when the phone is already ringing?
Wow.
And I think that's a tripod of success. Is how do you stay hungry? As you stay focused on your why. And then how do you stay motivated as you surround yourself with the people that understand your vision and are actually in it for you.
Yeah.
Like they're not watching from the sidelines.
Right.
Like they're in it and they want you to win.
You know, I was telling a good friend the other day, I was like, you know what? It's not about the people that are in front of your face and they're speaking and they're smiling and they're acting like they're your cheerleaders, right? It's about having advocacy when you're not in the room.
Absolutely.
You want somebody to speak for you and know you well enough to say, hey, let me speak about Ashley's value.
Right.
Like versus, oh, Ashley's great. And then when Ashley leaves the room has shifted because somebody's talking about Ashley. And I find myself, you get connected with people that speak highly about you when you're not there. And those are those coaches. Those are those other women that have like minds like yourself to be able to do business, collaborate, and sometimes just be a good friend.
Right.
And you don't have to collaborate with each other. And it's okay. But having the tribe to support you, that is real. That's real.
Yeah, and we're all energy beings, so we attract, what we are, you know. So the women that I have, and I have. My current business partner is the man, Mike Rogan, right?
I love men
and,
too. Though.
Yeah, and I like them both, right? I mean, but since we're both female professionals, speaking to that aspect of it is so important to have the women in your corner that are absolutely for you, and that's super valuable to be like it's a team sport.
Right.
Like living is a team sport,
right?
You have to have the right players around you. To reach your goals, whatever those may be.
Right. So let's talk about that for just a
Sure.
split second. I love men. I've worked around men, especially been in the financial industry in banking for almost 2 decades. Like I've worked around men, and have I had trouble with women? Absolutely.
Sure.
Right? It seems like men get you. They're not really
They're easier
competing.
sometimes, yeah.
Like we're all here to do a job, and we're all here about the bottom line. That's really men. Sometimes women, we can be a little bit complex. But when you meet women like yourself, you're like, you're worried about the bottom line too. We can talk, right?
Right.
All that fluff in the middle, who cares about all of that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good.
That's one thing I've had to work on having moved back to Birmingham is less directness.
Yes.
I've had to get used to the 5-minute introductory, how's everything going, instead of like, did that get done?
Yes. And I have problems with that.
Yeah.
Atlanta's home for me. I've traveled all over the world, and I can sometimes be very direct, and I had to like soften that. Sometimes I feel like I may have a little alpha in me.
Sure.
And but my husband understands. He married this person, and I'm not like a stay-at-home mom, and I'm not doing anything. Nothing against women that stay at home.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
please.
I stayed at home for 7 years.
See?
Yeah.
And I just have the energy that I gotta keep moving. Like it does something for me internally. And so when he knows that, he's like, just go be great. Just go.
Yeah.
Because I can be better to him, and I can be better for my kids.
Well, when you find another one of him, let me know.
I get that a lot, and I'm like, all of them have their thing, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
You have to figure out what your thing is now and what you want and what you desire.
Right.
Because, of course, in our 20s,
it was different.
Totally different, right? 30s, totally different.
Yeah.
And 40s, let me just tell you, it is totally different.
Totally different.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What I liked back then, I have no interest in now.
I know, right?
What about you?
Same, girl. We were talking yesterday prepping for this. I was like, I have dual vanities in my bathroom. I don't know that I want to share
You don't want
my
to share
sink.
them?
I got one for my hair and one for my makeup. Anyway.
And he gets that. I'm like, listen, give me my space. I can be better for you if you let me be me. I promise. Do not put me in a box.
Oh, for real.
I'm like a woman. I'm multitasking, multi-talented, and I can't put a cap on it, right? I like to be a mom. I like to have tights on, a T-shirt, and go get my kids. I like to be in carpool, but I like to be in the boardroom. And this is like what this is. And I wanted to create a space for women, to be honest, that are multitalented, and need a safe place to be our authentic selves.
Right.
We wear so many hats, right? We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're everybody.
Everybody,
especially if you are a single mom, right? And even though the married women, sometimes we feel single, right? Because it's a lot. It's a lot, especially depend on how you really like to navigate your home. Right. I always have this thing. I have no more kids than I can feed, and I got 4. Right. I love my husband, but I got 4 kids. They're my babies, and I like to provide as well. I want them to see mommy working. Yeah. Because I know that's like what you were saying too.
Yeah, that was really something that my girls are older than yours.
Right.
I've got one in college and one in high school.
Right.
And as I was building Giving Tree, I was the reason I got into real estate is like, how can I be a full-time mom and work full-time? So I needed something that was my own.
Right.
And real estate
It had
offered
flexibility.
that. Yeah, and real estate offered that. Because most of my clients are families looking for homes. So it fits, you know. But the cool thing about being in DC is as the Giving Tree got more successful, we were invited into the boardroom more. And I made it a point to have both of my daughters sit there with me so they could see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I really
you.
wanted them to see it, and now I'm watching this come to fruition with my oldest daughter because now it's her freshman year in college. She's made the dean's list, and she's sitting on the board of her sorority already. And it's just so important as mothers in business that we give our children the opportunity to really see like what we do every day.
Right.
You know, like have more than one time a year the bring your child to work day.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's funny because my producer over there that's over there laughing behind the screen, you know, I brought Lillian and Grace is not ready. She'll really take over the show, which she's really a Leo like her mom.
Oh, good.
But I bring my kids with me. Even when I competed, when we travel, we do life together.
Oh, for real, yeah.
And I was in the carpool line the other day, and Lillian was like, "You didn't have that on this morning." I said, "No. Like, I wear tights when I drop them off because I want to get on the floor. I want to be involved. I can get back in the car and change really quickly because I have a meeting, right? And then I may have to change again depending on what event that I have to attend, what speaking engagement that I have. And I'm just like moving, but I want her to see all of
Right.
that.
It's so
I
important.
don't want to be like boxed in. Moms, wives do all kind of things.
Yeah.
You just have to embrace it.
Well, I think there's various seasons to our life too, you know, because with my ex-husband being military, he's in a very active part of the military where they were deployed a lot. And that's the reason I decided to stay home, even though I had already started to build a really successful career.
Right.
But I wanted to take that opportunity, especially when my girls were smaller, because we lived away from family, of course.
Right.
Most military families do, and really dedicate that time to them. And so that was that season.
Right.
And then when I decided it was time to start growing in real estate again, you know, I really wanted to make sure that they were a part of that.
Right.
You know, and now I'm at the season of, well, they're very independent now. Like one doesn't even live with me anymore.
Right.
So what does that season look like in terms of how do you continue to grow professionally? And then what things can you add? Because, like, I don't need to be on the floor anymore tying shoes.
Right.
You know, I'm
Right.
1 year away from the other one driving.
And you're going to be like in a whole different lane. then.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, as you know, I think that's important to talk to as women in business because as our family lives change, so does our focus in business
And our
too.
needs.
There's a lot of stuff I can do now that I couldn't do 10 years ago because being a mom was really my number one priority.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did you have a lot of support back then or you didn't? And that's why you probably had to hone in on everything.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, as my daughter, my oldest daughter, actually was diagnosed with a autoimmune disease, which required a lot of treatment when she was really young. She's in full remission now, which is great, and
Okay,
God's
okay,
blessing for
right.
sure. But that's what ultimately forced the transition at first.
But that goes back to your why, right?
Yeah.
We create businesses, we create opportunities and environments because some has driven us there.
Right.
Right. And that pushed you. You want to be available, but you also have goals and aspirations.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah. But in terms of your question about support, when we lived in Clarksville, there was a ton of support. They had something called the Family Readiness Group. I briefly spoke about that on my questionnaire, some things that we did there
Yep.
in that season. And that's really where I actually got even better at commercial management and commercial development because we actually built a library on the base there, which was super
Wow.
cool.
Okay, from ground up.
Yes.
Wow.
But in DC, there really wasn't much support.
Okay.
And so that was a really great opportunity for me to really invest in my children. And I will never regret now that they are older and moving on to doing like big girl things that I have that opportunity to say, man, like that was a great 7 years.
Of your life.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was great. And I found volunteer opportunities to keep me going professionally that it wasn't demanding.
Right.
Right. Like, you know, I
Right.
did the Family Readiness Group. It was in my daughter's schools a lot, like PTO, PTA, all of that. Yeah.
Check mark, check mark.
Right.
I'm like, people say, Sierra, how do you do all of this? And I said, it's not about having it all. Or let me readdress that. What is having it all to you?
Right.
Because in different stages in your life, you need different things. And having it all to me is I like to do many things to keep me sane. Let's just be honest.
For real, yeah.
But not only that, but I just enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
But of course, my needs was going to change 5 years from now and 10 years from now because majority of mine will be out of my house too. So,
right.
I'll probably like sitting in your shoes too. Like,
yeah. It's a fun opportunity because as mothers, and every mother's different. I don't think there's one better way than the other to be a mother. If you stay at home, great.
Yeah.
If you work 3 jobs, great.
Whatever.
If you travel, great.
Yeah.
But, as mothers and as our children grow, a big portion of what we were even thinking about as little girls, like I'm going to be a mom one day and I'm going to get married one day. And all of that closes. It's odd as your children get bigger. But it opens up all this opportunity to be like, okay, well, now what do I want to do?
Right.
One of my goals for 2025 is to travel more.
Really? So let me ask you this. As a little girl, what was your desire?
In terms of
I want to be a mom. I want to be a wife. Like, did you think about that stuff as a little girl?
Can't think that I did. I mean, I remember I had all the Cabbage Patch dolls because those were all the rage. And all I remember is like this one Swatch purse that I had to have. Remember the Swatch watches?
Yeah.
Girl, I mean, all I was thinking about was getting that Swatch purse. But yeah, I mean,
asked me, and I'm like, I really wasn't thinking about marriage.
Yeah, I wasn't tracking it.
I really didn't think about. I knew I wanted to be married one day. I knew I wanted children.
Yeah,
but it was not like, oh my God, I'm a little girl, and this is what I aspire to be.
Yeah.
At an early age, I aspired to like do great things. Like,
Same.
how could I be her? You
Yeah.
know? And I mean, of course, we played Barbies and baby dolls and house and all of that. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I want to be a mommy. I want to be a wife. Like, it was, how can I be powerful in this world and make a difference? You know?
Same.
And so I love to ask that, like, what was your desire as a kid?
I think my desire as a child was always to leave the world better than when I found it. I felt that on my heart for a very long time, and and that we're all energy beings, and what we give in this life, we get back.
Right.
And I think I knew that pretty early on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. We were talking about a little bit earlier, and I want to touch on this about wealth, right? And I know when I was in banking and I did a lot of commercial lending, and I'm a girl that I can look at a building, I can tell you the square footage, I can tell you how much you're going to pay for it, I can tell you what you need to do, how you need to gut it, like whatever business, I can help you because I'm just great with processes. But I had a lot of friends and colleagues, even after retire, and they're like, hey, how do I really build wealth? Like, what does this look like? Like, I'm in and out of my my storefront. I'm not able to spend time with my kids. I'm not able to really live life. A lot of people don't understand, like, having your own business is bondage sometimes because we're trying to make sure that we serve and have products and services for our clients. So we're at their beck and call. I tell people all the time, it's not for everybody. Like, everybody doesn't need to be a chief. Like, it's okay to be an Indian because really sometimes I like to be an Indian. I like to be the person in the room that doesn't know everything. We talked about that, right? Because I like to lean in and listen and gain knowledge. But so many people have been asking, like, Sierra, how can I really build wealth? Because I don't feel like I'm doing that. I'm in, day out, right? I want you to speak to these women. I want you to speak for 2 types of women, right? The women that's been in corporate America, they've been doing the right thing. They've been putting their money in their 401k, and they've been sort of diversifying their funds. They have their savings, they have their money markets and all that kind of stuff. But they're ready to retire out. Or maybe they don't have that much to retire out to live without
the way they want to.
Right. That's one woman, right? And what about the women that, how can I say this, that know real estate, and they've really diversified their funds, and they put a little bit here, they have a little property here, but they still don't know real estate, but they know enough to be dangerous, like myself. I'm just going to be honest. I have a couple of properties. I've diversified my funds. However, I still need to be knowledgeable about real estate.
Right.
What do you say to both of those women that, one that knows a lot about real estate and one that doesn't know? Is the market still there for investors and to build wealth in real estate?
Absolutely, there is. There's plenty of opportunity to invest and build wealth in real estate. My biggest advice for anybody looking to build wealth in real estate is if you don't have a lot of money to start, start with a duplex because you can live in one side and rent the other, and then it pays for itself.
Okay.
Because any major loan that you're going to get, whether it be FHA, VA, conventional, they're going to require you to live in that home for a year.
Okay.
So unless you have the cash up front
Okay.
to buy a house outright, you have, if you take financing, you have to live in it. You have to intend to live in it for a year. So, to speak to those two different types of women, there are women out there that have plenty of assets that they can cash out and reinvest in real estate that is much more stable than the stock market, especially the rental market. And there's various ways to get into the rental market here in Birmingham, which we can speak to that later if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
What was I going to say? So then the other type of woman that's looking to get started, like I would like to invest in real estate, or I have some properties and don't know what to do with them. I mean, if she's already investing, she's got a property manager, like something's going on, right? And so she probably has the resources to figure out next steps. But I love talking to people who are looking to get into investing in real estate.
Okay.
Like, okay, I've invested in the stock market, like I get it, I got a money market, but I've been thinking about investing in real estate. Like, how do I start?
Right.
I'm always saying, like, start with the duplex. Buy more than one door because you can live in one side and you can rent out the other.
Okay, so, and I probably wasn't clear about this either, but like for that woman that's in corporate America and she's ready to start a new adventure, right?
Sure.
So she has a little bit of assets, but not enough that's going to sustain her. So she has this 401, and sometimes people take out of that to start new adventures, but she has a little bit and she doesn't know what to do with it.
Sure.
And everybody knows, like, real estate. You can never go wrong with real estate.
Right.
But a lot of people are renting now, right?
Yes.
Like, what is going on? Is real estate not great anymore?
So real estate is really great, but we have seen housing prices continuously go up and they're not coming down. So a lot of people have been priced out of the market, unfortunately. And we all know how life goes. Somebody loses somebody loses a job, something like some people have to rent right now, and that's fine.
Right.
But the biggest difference between renting and owning is equity. Because if you own a property, for the lady that you just spoke to, who's been successful, owns her own home, well, that house can be used to leverage the next house.
Tell me more.
Yes.
What can she do?
So, for example, your house is valued at $650,000 and you've lived in it for 15 years.
Okay.
And so you have 15 years of equity built into that house. So then you absorb that equity out of your home and you go pay cash for an investment property. And I would highly recommend buying as many doors as you can for with the money that you have. So, for example, excuse me, I'm still getting over being sick last week.
You're fine.
So, for example, let's say you can pull out $80,000 in equity.
Okay.
And there is a multi-unit home for sale in a certain part of Birmingham versus one single property in another part of Birmingham. Because there's always a cost difference. So location drives price.
Right.
So if you've got $80,000 or $90,000, go buy 4 doors anywhere in the United States. You don't have to be here in Birmingham.
Okay.
But buy as many doors as you can for the amount of money that you have in equity in your own home.
Okay.
Don't buy the one in your neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm going to be a little devil's advocate right now because finance is my baby. And
Sure.
I know in my world, sometimes we don't like to what we call commingle, right? That's my personal property. Why should I take out my personal property investment, which is, and make it become an asset to be able to purchase property? Would they not need to create a business for that and have separate entities?
I agree.
Or is it okay to really take out your equity of your home and start that business? What if that business goes under, and you took out a good bit of your money out of your personal, and then guess what? I'm out of a home because I've taken it out and the market goes crazy and it goes belly up. Like, what is the real best way to do it?
So, I mean, you work in finance. I mean, do you not think it's a good idea that if you own your own home, it should already be in an LLC? I mean that just in, I'm not, that's a question for you. I mean, would you
Well,
recommend that or?
It depends. So for me, it depends on if this is your first home, if it's your first home and you purchase it, right? And you're looking to move. If you move into your next home and you want to keep that home, then I would probably create an LLC for that home.
Okay.
But this is my forever home. I may not put that in my LLC.
Well,
and then I'll wait till I get like my second property, if it's a beach home, if it's a lake home or something like that, and then you start building it that way. But if it's my personal home, that's my forever home, I don't put it in my LLC. Like, that's ours. So I sort of keep my personal and my business separate.
Got it.
But as it grows, you can create entities and you can move them around and make sure that your business purchase it and all that kind of stuff. You know how you can do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do keep them separate
Well, I think if you're going to
for
go
tax
back,
purposes and all that kind of stuff.
for sure, yeah, and to go back to, well, what would you do if you're commingling?
Yeah.
If you're gonna pull your money out of your home, that needs to be in an LLC. It all needs to go together because that money from that home is now supporting another business venture.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah,
That's good. That's
sure.
really, really good. You all need to take a note on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's pop back into like the investment piece.
Sure.
Right? What is real wealth? I think a lot of people have this like big confusion around wealth. And I know for me, wealth is not about the tangible funds. It's really the mindset.
Right.
And if we're talking about wealth and investing, what does that look like for you? I know I have to invest in me, and the way I invest in me is by changing my mindset to be able to create wealth, to be able to create a legacy. Like a lot of people don't know, like I'm in school in Miami right now. We're always in Miami. He probably doesn't even know this over there yet, but we're always in Miami. We travel a good bit, and I'm over there and I'm taking some additional courses for a CFO, right? I like to stay in the cutting edge of my industry.
I love it.
Because things change so much and everybody's just not pushing paper anymore, putting in numbers. Like, you have to do a lot of forecasting. You have to do a lot of continuous education. And for me, that's wealth. It's something that can't be taken away from me. And I'm investing in myself.
I love it.
So when you're talking about investing and continuous education and you're staying ahead of your market,
Sure.
what does that look like?
Well, in terms of staying ahead of the market, my goal is always to surround myself with people that are way smarter than me, who have already walked faster and know way more than I do. I think humility is a big key to success.
Yeah.
And staying focused. Who can my favorite book is Never Eat Alone. And like, who can I have lunch with today that's really cool, like Sierra is doing high level things. Like, how can I learn from them today? Because as you said, fields are always growing and changing. And if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to become irrelevant at some point.
Right.
Because there's going to be younger, faster,
Quicker,
better
yeah.
behind you, and we're all getting older.
I know, right? Like, I'm not as great.
I don't think I can run it that
change
much
up a little bit. Yeah.
But in terms of investment in real estate, a lot of people just don't know how to get started.
Right.
Like, they've heard about it, they know about it, they've listened to a podcast about it, their friends are doing it, but they don't, they're in a rental or they've already bought their first home. They're like, well, I've got a little bit extra cash. I'd like to invest in real estate, but now what?
Right.
Well, I mean, my first recommendation is find an agent that's very versed in what it looks like to invest in real estate.
Okay.
Myself, for example.
Yeah.
And they can talk you through, like, where do you need to get started and how? Because the best thing about investing in real estate is that you can it's the fastest way to build generational wealth.
Okay.
Because you can leverage on top of leverage on top of leverage. You can build an empire by just starting with one. And I talk to women in business about that a lot. How do you take some of your money and really build generational wealth for, you and your family? And we can talk about that again another time. But in terms of investing in myself, we've all had journeys in life. And my biggest thing is what brings me peace. And if it brings me peace, then I'm going to heavily invest in it. Is it like that special tea that I like, or is it making a great new girlfriend? What are the things that really bring Ashley peace investment?
But you know what's so funny? When you do find that piece of peace, money will come.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're settled. You're not wavering, and you're like, this is something I'm not doing.
Yeah.
This is something I will do. And when you say yes to certain things, you're given a focus, and those things will really grow, right? So, like for me, I'm very intentional. I've always been intentional, but I'm very, very intentional now. Like if you don't want me, I don't want you.
Okay,
I
like it.
don't need to be in a room and I'm not accepted in that room. Like everybody's been there, everybody that I know.
Absolutely.
Like, why stay in that room? Gather your things very quickly, I'm always listening and reading things, but they always say you hire quickly. No.
Hire slow.
You hire slow and you fire quickly.
Absolutely.
Right? And I use that concept in every area of my life.
That's neat.
Move slow. So when it's time to sprint, you don't have to think about it, right? And be in the environment that allows you to really grow and be your best self.
Yeah. That's something I've really learned over the past couple of years coming back here to Birmingham is I was always known as the base jumper, right? Like who takes out a $5,000 loan and starts a real estate business like in the middle of DC, with 2 kids on her hips,
Is that what you did?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
$5,000. That's all you did to get started.
Yes, and it turned into a $42 million company. And then, it was saying yes. It was base jumping, and I strategically partnered with the right business partner, Nicole Lewis.
Okay.
I was the one that would be running for the cliff, like, we're going to go build a business like this again, like, let's go fast. Like you just said, like, go really
fast.
instead of slow, right? I was like, let's build it. And she would always say, well, did you bring your parachute? And I'm like,
because you're going to need it.
I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Let me go back.
Right.
But yeah, but I've learned that. And I think part of that's getting older and being more seasoned.
Were you much younger when you're like, let's go, right? Now you're I
was hungrier.
Just hungry?
I was like, I'm like, come on, girls, we're about to change our lives.
Wow.
And I had a big why, and I think now that I'm getting older and realize some of the mistakes and the money that you lose when you're running so fast. Right. We weren't profitable our first year because I was just like, we're going. Right. And had I known then what I know now, which we're not repeating in the Birmingham market,
right.
We probably would have had more profits our first year. But I completely agree with you to move slowly and fire fast and to make sure you get out of rooms really quickly where you're not with your people.
Right.
Because your people are going to celebrate you.
And your people are going to find you.
Oh, for real.
Let's be honest. They'll find you. Like we found each other.
I know.
Crazy, but,
I know. I've been really blessed to have amazing women in my life, and I'm glad that we had an opportunity to meet.
Yeah. Wow. When I think about like what you said in DC, I tell people all the time when I'm doing business coaching for women in business, I tell them, it takes 3 years.
Absolutely.
It takes 3 years to even look at a trend for your business.
Correct.
And let's see if it's really a hobby. Let's just be honest. We have all these ideas. Yep. And people know me by now. Like, you'll see me, and then you don't. And when you don't see me, I am really doing a lot of homework. Yeah. Because I believe you are your brand, right?
Completely.
And if you don't know what you're doing, you need to stop.
Right.
Just stop.
Take a break and build it. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. And you, like you said, even coming here, you just took a break. And breaks are really good sometimes. We need to just inhale, take a break, recalibrate, and then go back in sometimes. Because it can be very detrimental to your business.
Yeah.
I tell people, you have your business for 3 years, you'll see a trend. You'll see if, oh my God, this first year I was so hungry, I made this amount. The second year, I don't know what happened. The third year, I did okay. And I need you to get all 3 of those and see and dissect what will your business really be, what you're really great at, and how you're going to move forward.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for people to invest in your business, because every business has to scale and grow. Right. So you need those 3 years of proof of like, this is where this business is going. Will you invest in it? And it takes 3 years to even get there.
It does.
Yeah. So you got to hustle for the first 3 years.
Hustle.
I mean, I was working 60 hours a week with a kindergartner and a third grader. But we did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hustle. The first 3 years is total hustle.
Did you have any sleep at all?
I'm a pretty good sleeper.
I have to get my sleep too. But
I can go to sleep.
You can go to sleep. I know 2024 was hard for me. We just had a baby. And I'm like, girl, are you crazy to be moving like this? And I'm like, I'm just crazy. I'm so hungry. So I was like pregnant with Benjamin.
Yeah.
I was pregnant with all of these dreams that the Lord just downloaded to me. And I'm like, how am I going to give birth to all of this stuff? And I got this infant.
Right.
And I was like, you know what, Benjamin, you're going to do life with mommy. But we're going to go very slow.
I love it.
And I would come in here to podcast. We would sit in here and I just kept going and kept going because this became my journaling.
I love it.
I loved it. And then the business of my a coaching sort of start to grow because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, Sierra, we need you.
Right.
And I'm like, they don't really need me. There's so many people out there. Like, let me just do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I realized there was women that needed me. And I'm like, how do I supposed to support them? And one great person, which is my coach, she said, just go forward. I'm like, how can I put my leg out the door? Just move forward. Just one step at a time.
That's right.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
One of my favorite sayings is just make the next right best decision. Like whenever you're super overwhelmed and you're standing there like, okay, what do I need to do right now? Like, what's the next best right decision? That makes life pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, some of those nuggets right there to me is wealth.
Absolutely.
What do you feel like wealth is to you? I know we talk about typically like, let's build generational wealth. But how can somebody even start there if they don't have the mindset?
Yeah. Well, you need to have a higher power, right? Like mine is Jesus Christ. I'm practicing Christian, so I don't move without his permission. So I lead with that. That's wealth and peace for me. And then we need our people. We've talked. I don't know why that this podcast has turned into talking about having the right tribe, but I love that.
Right.
And even if you don't have a large circle of friends and you don't know where to begin, find a community group that's doing what you're doing. For example, let's say you want to open your own restaurant.
Right.
Like, where's a cool culinary group that's cooking at somebody's house on Saturdays that you can go ahead and start to find your people that have probably already connected with maybe some of the larger restaurant owners in Birmingham or anywhere in the United States, right?
And that's a little thing about you I read too.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's next on the list. I'm opening my own restaurant.
Yes. I was like, restaurant? Ashley?
Yes.
Really?
Cooking is my passion.
I read a lot and I was like, does she like to cook?
I love
to cook. I'm my grandma's baby.
Yep.
I still like collard greens.
Same girl.
And beans and my kid's going to get some greens and
That's
some
right.
beans.
That's right.
I'm a Southern belle, you know.
Yep.
So, that's good.
That was one cool thing about living in D.C. is I would make my typical Southern Sunday lunches. And if you grew up in the Deep South, you know what that looks like.
Right.
It's got cornbread, greens, beans.
All of that.
Ham, like you name it, it's on the table.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. And that's the way I created a great group of women around me is just by having those Sunday suppers. Because most of our husbands at the time were deployed.
Yeah.
So we
You had
were
to build
all
community.
Yeah, we were all together. One thing I did wanted to touch on with a part of our business and not to sidetrack from what we're talking right now.
Yeah, sure.
But I want to make sure we don't forget it is we have a Homes for Heroes program with Azalea Road here in Birmingham.
Okay.
And it is for veterans. It is for police officers, anybody who's in the service industry, doctors, nurses, first responders, and any veteran.
Okay.
And it's a program where we give almost all of your closing costs back to you as a thank you for
Now,
your
that's something
service
I
to the
didn't
community.
know.
Mhm.
Wow. And so who can all benefit from this? Tell me that again.
Anybody who works, doctors, nurses, first responders,
Okay.
paramedics, police, fire department,
Okay.
and all veterans, either currently serving or retired. We also have a really great program where we help veterans understand how to leverage their VA loan benefits to build generational wealth. Which what we have found with, so my ex-husband's a veteran, and we're very thankful for every veteran service.
Right.
Those were some tough years our most recent veterans went through, you know. And so we really strive to be a part of that community, having lived and, you know, been in it for many, many years. I have a lot of military spouse friends still. We've created a lot of memories together. That needs to be like another podcast of what that
Like I'm
what
sure
that
you
was
traveled
like.
everywhere.
Like what that up-tempo part of the war was like and what those communities look like with just women there.
Wow.
Because all the guys were gone.
Right. Right.
But anyway, having been committed to that community, my business partner is retired Navy. We have another arm to our business. He's also a recruiter for the Army. And we are working hard to get into all of the military installations here in Alabama this year to educate every incoming soldier, current soldier, or retiring soldier of how they can really use that VA benefit to create
that's
wealth for themselves
great.
and for their families.
So I have some retirees in my family that was military, and it's so crazy. My parents wasn't, but my aunts, I have uncles,
Wow.
and a lot of people that have served. One of my best friends, her husband has served, and they need more support. Let me tell you.
I found that most veterans, they have so many benefits. They just don't know what to
have so
do.
many
They don't know what to do with
benefits.
them.
I
So we're really trying to bring that
know.
educational piece of like you have, I mean, as officers have almost like up to $1.5 million that they can invest in real estate and they're just sitting on it.
Really? My
Yes.
best friend, she's over in Virginia. Nope, she's not in Virginia. She's in North Carolina.
Okay.
And the girl is high ranked. And let me tell you, she's trying to. This is like a prime example. I didn't even think about her, but great benefits. She doesn't even know how to get involved in real estate.
Yeah.
She got deployed, came back. She had one property. She was in California. I used to go see her all the time. And then look at me. I'm a nut bucket of all things. But I was like, go ahead. The market's changing.
Yeah.
Sell that rental, that primary home.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think I'm going to rent it out. I said, nope, renting time is over. Sell it. Sure enough, she sold it and she made twice as much.
Good for her.
She paid for it.
Absolutely.
And I was so happy. She's like, Sierra, thank you. I was like, oh, girl, I don't know how I told you that, but I'm happy
Yeah.
you gained from it.
Yeah.
But they have so many benefits that they don't even know about.
Yeah.
And she really would like to get into it. And I was like, hey, I'm enough to be dangerous. Like I'm just an investor.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, but I have to connect.
Yeah, well, connect us because we can
Yeah.
help people invest worldwide because of the connections that we have. Like for example, I have a really good friend who's a heavy investor. I've helped him buy homes in DC. I've helped him buy homes in Germany. I've helped him buy homes in North Carolina. I helped him buy his house in DC. So we can help anybody anywhere. We're not limited to the Birmingham
Let me
market.
tell you, we was at Turks and Caicos in January. And anytime my husband and I travel, we're like traveling. We love to look at the real estate
That's
and all
great.
of this. And I was like, can we like buy a place over here?
Yeah.
Like, how long do you have to be a citizen to get us? We were just researching all this stuff, and it was like so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we like to do a lot of international traveling, but we need people like you to say, you know what, that would be a good investment. That right there is not a good investment.
Yeah.
And I believe in a triangle, but my triangle has grown. I believe in a square.
Okay.
And I always tell people you need a doctor, you need a lawyer, you need a financial, a
do.
CPA. You need somebody in the financial industry to close that gap. But now you even need other entities. It's no longer a triangle because you got to have professions that know what they do,
Right.
and what they do well. Like you can't do everything.
Yeah,
This
and
is dangerous.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah, you need to
Yeah.
have somebody that specializes in what you're interested in. And I think that's really what differentiates us as realtors, because people have misconception about what a real estate agent is.
Tell me about it.
They really do, and in many professions, lawyers, whatever, But if you're interviewing an agent, I would highly recommend that you interview, if you're looking to get into real estate and you're looking to have a real estate agent help you,
Okay.
you need to interview them like you would interview for any position you were hiring in your life.
Okay,
You wouldn't
okay.
just pick up the phone or call off a billboard to the person that has the most money to advertise. You want to find the real estate agent that is highly educated in their profession, not your Bible. I have nothing against Bible study. I go to Bible study, but like not your Bible
Not your
study,
Bible study
best friend that's only sold 3 houses in their career.
Right.
You really want to talk with the agent that's going to help you leverage real estate financially in your best interest. And it takes a lot of education, a lot of training, and a lot of coaching to be able to do that well. You don't learn that in real estate school. You learn that by educating yourself and being associated with people that are already doing it at a high level.
It goes back to that continuous education.
Correct.
So what do you do to stay ahead of that curve? Like what kind of things what kind of things that you stay abreast on?
Sure. So I listen to a lot of real estate podcasts, a ton. I also do a lot of reading. One of my favorite books is How to Invest in Real Estate with No Money. It's a great way to start.
Okay.
If you're broke and you don't have any money, go get that book.
Okay.
Listen to a lot of really great podcasts.
Okay.
I sit in the room in coaching where they're doing it at a higher level, like Las Vegas, DC, New York. I've been invited to sit into some of their training classes.
Okay.
So always trying to stay ahead of the market and what the trends are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's about that time.
Okay.
I want you to tell the viewers, I want you to tell them, where could they find you
Sure.
and what you want to say to them at
Okay.
the end of this.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me on today. This was a thrill for sure.
This was good.
It was really good. Well, they can find me on Facebook and they can find me on Instagram. So I'm Ashley Good. My Instagram handle is The Good Life with 3 F's. So it's LIFFE. And then you can always email me at ashley@azalearoadal.com. Okay.
Good. Awesome.
Yes, this is so
thank
cool.
you so much
Yes.
for coming and being a part of my podcast. And if you guys forgot anything, you can reach out to me. You can go to my website, and I'll make sure that I connect you because I'm just a connector, So thank you so much. You all have an amazing day.